tell me about St. George's School?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So it's a school that's in Vancouver. We're a day and boarding school. We're an all-boys school. We were founded in 1930, so we're almost 100 years old. We have an excellent reputation across Canada and around the world, known for our excellence in academics, a wide range of activities, and being a school, particularly as a boarding school in Vancouver. There's hardly any other schools like this anywhere in Vancouver, certainly, and in the world.
So can you tell us like what you're looking for in a student, like what makes a student, like a guy, a good fit for St. George School?
Absolutely, sure. So we are certainly academically rigorous school, and so that's where the first thing that we're really looking for is that the students will be academically ready, and as such, typically we're looking for a strong report card, above average grades. We also require a standardized test. And so in many cases, students will submit what's called the SSAT test, or if they're not able to write that in the country they're in, such as Korea here, then we would also accept an English test as a standardized test. So perhaps a TOEFL or an IELTS or Duolingo English test. So we look for both academics, strength in academics and readiness through that. And then we also interview students and parents. We like to get to know the student and really make sure that they're excited about coming to our school, that they have a love for learning, and those aspects. And then make sure that there's a character alignment with the school and the student.
So like you mentioned interviewing, so like what are some like common interview questions you ask the students to like get to know them?
We ask them first of all, it's bit of it is making sure that they're aware of the expectations of the school. So we ask them to share with us why they're interested in coming to our boarding program. We want to know what they hope to accomplish at the school. We like to get to know a little bit about some of their activities. So we're often looking for a student who has a bit of a spark, and so that can be found in their love of whether it's sports or music or clubs. And also joy of learning. So often we'll ask them about books or the ways they like to learn in the classroom.
You just mentioned clubs, so like, are there like an extensive list of clubs in St. George's that students can join?
We actually offer over 30 different sports, both at a high level, a competitive level, and then also at a more recreational level, everything from ice hockey, basketball, volleyball, rugby, to skiing, mountain biking, to pickleball. And so both sports and then clubs such as Modeling United Nations and robotics and debate club, a huge range of clubs, over close to 20, 40 different clubs each year.
Okay. So like, are there clubs that are like more specified on like the STEM field?
So for example, the robotics club is one that's really popular, and they will go to robot competitions, sort of like battle bot competitions, where they'll build a robot, and some of them actually are fighting or completing tasks. We also have some studio media courses, so students that are interested in computer gaming and such. There's some clubs where they're building different games and media devices such as that. So those are some really, really popular clubs that students who love technology and science would gravitate to.
Like you mentioned, they're like recreational sports and really competitive sports. Like for the competitive ones, like are there any recruitment process you guys look into?
So the only one that would really have a sort of external tryout and recruitment process would be our ice hockey program. So we have an ice hockey program that's known as an academy level hockey program. And for that, it is important that the students would be at the appropriate level, and we would work with our hockey coaches to identify that and work with the family to maybe watch some videos. If they can come and play, come to practice earlier, that helps. But all the other sports, they would try out once they're at the school, and depending on the grade level, there's also recreational levels, so they can just do it for fun as well.
That's cool. So can you like tell us about like a typical day in the life of like an international student like living in a dorm in St. George's School?
Sure thing. So our day begins at school at the school begins at 8:30. So the boarding students would dine in our dining hall, usually around between 8 to 8:30, and then they go to class. Our classes are typically 75 minutes long, and a lot of the classes are really focused on project-based learning, a lot of inquiry-based learning. So they're rarely sitting in their chairs, they're often up and about and writing on the walls and doing presentations and such. They'll have typically on a day they'll have an advisory group where they'll meet with 9 other students plus an advisor, and they're in the same advisor group all 5 years of school. So really building really strong connections. They'll have lunch around 11:30. Lunch is an hour and 30 minutes, and so there's plenty of time to eat. Everyone eats together in the gorgeous dining hall facility we have on our campus. And then there's plenty of time after that to then join clubs or do activities. A couple more blocks in the afternoon of courses. They have 5 courses all total during the day. And then school wraps up at 3:15. And then students are also at that time involved in their co-curriculars. So we talked about sports earlier. Those are what we call our co-curriculars, and those go from 3:15 to about 5. Back to the dorm, they'll have some downtime, lunch, dinner around 6 o'clock or so. Then they do check-in of a floor, and then it's off to activities. So perhaps in the wintertime they might be going skiing in the North Shore Mountains on Tuesday nights. Maybe they'll walk up to Dunbar and see a movie in the movie theater. Maybe they'll go for a run down to the beach. So lots of different things to do, and many evenings there's actually organized activities such as going to a musical or going skiing. So lots to do, and lots of action happening at St. George's School.
How do students access those places, especially students who doesn't have driver's license or a car?
Sure. Well, we certainly this is the appeal and one of the draws of attending St. George's School as a boarding school in the city. We really encourage and welcome that our students are getting out into the city in the weekends or after school. It's a safe city. In particular, our neighborhood is very, very safe. And we have a great bus network. So students will either jump on the bus, and it takes about, if they want to go all the way to the city center, downtown Vancouver, that's about a 30-minute bus ride. Or they'll just walk about 5 minutes to Dunbar Street, which is where there's lots of shops and cafes and places to hang out. They might have a bicycle. A lot of students will also have bicycles, and they'll bike down to the beach or go to a variety of different parks.
So cool. Because my school was in the suburbs, and I had to go for a really long ride.
Yes.
To go anywhere, even Target or supermarkets. I had to drive 20 minutes.
So and that's the case with a lot of boarding schools, because they're often in the suburbs or in rural parts of the city. Our school is in Vancouver, being 100 years old. The neighborhood in the city built up around it, and so our students definitely, if parents are looking for that cultural experience, as I suspect many of them are, coming to Canada, coming to Vancouver, you're not going to be able to find a better place to be able to be connected and grow as a student than being at an urban boarding school like St. George's offers.
Yeah.